Hello, Hope Church. I'm Keith Becker, and I'm privileged to bring you today's Hope Daily Devotional. And we're looking at the way Jesus interacted with certain people throughout Scripture. And there's a story in the book of Luke that captivated me recently when I was reading it. And it has to do with an individual Jesus met who felt like an outsider. In fact, he literally was an outsider. We'll hear about that in a minute. How about you, though? Have you ever felt like an outsider? Maybe it's not the classic, that you're off on your own all the time, but sometimes in a group you just don't feel like you're in the center of influence, or maybe you're just pushed off a little bit to the side. Maybe things are going in an area where you just kind of feel like you are there and you don't really get to be an influencer. I don't know how it shapes, but this story resonated with me, and maybe it might resonate with you if you ever feel like you're on the outside. A story that takes place right after Jesus calmed the storm, does this miracle of calming the storm in the boat as they go over. And it starts in Luke chapter 8, verse 26 through 39. I'm going to read portions of it. It says, "Then the disciples sailed to the country of the Gerasenes, which is opposite Galilee." So they're still in the Sea of Galilee. They're going, I want you to note right away, to a place of the unchurched, or in this case, the non-Jewish, the people that are not clean, people who typically the Jewish disciples were like, why would Jesus go to this land? And it says, "When Jesus had stepped out on the land, there they met a man from the city who had demons. For a long time he had worn no clothes, and he had lived in not a house, but amongst the tombs. When Jesus saw him, the man cried out and fell down before him and said with a loud voice, 'What have you come to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I beg you, do not torment me.' For Jesus had commanded the unclean spirit to come out of the man." And then later on, you read about what happens. He ends up casting those demons into a herd of pigs. And that in itself is kind of a unique story, because who else was raised as pigs but not Jewish people? So you can see they're in a land that's not living by Jewish customs. And so the first thing Jesus does, he has this heart to go to the unchurched or the people that don't know him. He says, let's go to this place. And I don't know about you, if you feel like an outsider, you don't usually feel like people want to come to you. You kind of feel like, I'm not the very special person or important person. And by the very nature of the story, Jesus is coming. He said, I want to go to this people. I want to go to the people that are not the insiders. And then specifically this man who has this demonic oppression, so much so that he doesn't wear clothes, he lives outside amongst the tombs, as I said, literally an outsider. And he's banished by his fellow countrymen, saying, we don't want anything to do with you. And what does Jesus do? He calls to him, and he engages him, and he casts out whatever craziness is going on in his life, and he restores him. It says later on that the man is restored and in his right mind, and he's clothed. Those are all big words to say he's been welcomed back into full restoration of not only his spiritual life, but his physical life. Then this man pleads with Jesus and says, can I go with you? Can I be one of your disciples? Isn't that true? If someone has taken you from being an outsider into being an insider, you want to be with that person. And the story doesn't go as I hoped. Jesus says no. He says, no, I want you to return to your home, this is verse 39, and declare how much God has done for you. And the man went away, proclaiming throughout the whole city how much Jesus had done for him. I want you to rest with that. If you have ever felt like an outsider, I want you to know that God has come for you. He accepts you right in who you are, in your craziness, even if you're an outsider because of your own issues. And he says, that's in the past, I restore you. And then he says this, be my proclaimer of all the good of how I've made you an insider. Go and tell others that you are now part of my family, and tell others they too can be part of my family. And when I read that, it just touched my heart to be remembered that if you ever feel like an outsider, I know I felt that God says you're an insider. Now go tell others they too can be one. Bless you today.